because we're not just getting our chest, we're also working our triceps and our front delts. This is a fantastic exercise, guys. Hey guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I have 5 exercises that are going to actually help you build a more attractive upper body. And all 5 exercises focus on different muscle groups. You know, if you could do it right, building all the muscles kind of simultaneously in your upper body, it really looks fantastic. It's very impressive. It's something you can see when, you know, you're wearing a shirt, and it doesn't even have to be a tight shirt. It could even be a long sleeve dress shirt. If somebody's got a big muscular upper body, it's just instantly noticeable. And guys, I'm a big believer in the total package type concept. And what I mean by that is, I think that the total package is greater than the sum of the parts. Let me try to explain that for you. So if you see a guy that's got a really big bicep, but he's got no chest, he's got no back, he's got no shoulders, he's just got big arms, it looks a little weird. I mean, yes, everybody wants big arms, but it doesn't look right. All right, it doesn't look as impressive. We're talking about building an impressive looking upper body. All right, so he might have a huge chest and no triceps, all right, and no shoulders, no back. And so you got these big pecs, but it still looks weird, all right? It doesn't work right. If all the parts are there together, the summation of them is actually greater than the total of each individual part added together. It's kind of a weird thing, but I'm a big believer in aesthetics and everything kind of fitting together and having the correct proportions. All right, so these 5 exercises are going to help you do that. But first, I'm going to show you by far the most important exercise when it comes to building an impressive and attractive upper body. Follow me. Just follow me over here. This exercise is going to be completely different from the other 5 I'm about to show you. But I want you to practice this exercise because it's really the most important. I'm just going to do 3 reps. You need to practice closing the refrigerator door without taking any food out of it, all right? Because no matter how many sets you do of the 5 exercises I show you today, it ain't gonna matter if all that muscle is covered up with fat, because every time you come to the refrigerator, you grab something out of it and stick it in your mouth, all right? So you got to be on top of your nutrition first, all right? Then these 5 exercises I'm gonna show you are really gonna be far more effective. All right, so the first exercise today is an incline dumbbell press. And I say incline because for almost all guys, our upper chest is not quite as developed as the lower chest. And so this puts just a slightly more stress on the upper chest than just doing a flat bench press. Nothing wrong with flat, but if I had to only pick one, I would do a slight incline, all right? Because you still get your lower pecs. They still get involved in this movement, all right? But this is a great all around, it's a compound movement, all right? Because we're not just getting our chest, we're also working our triceps and our front delts, all right? But this is a fantastic exercise, guys. All right, form is always key. I've shot tons of videos. Now I'm using really light weight now, guys, just so I can talk to you and explain what's going on. But I want you to kind of take notice of the tempo and the range of motion. I mean, I'm going down about as deep as my shoulders will let me go. These flanges are basically almost touching my shoulders at the bottom. And another thing I like to do is have the dumbbells slightly turned like this instead of straight like I'm holding a bar. This is how your arms are naturally going to want to move through this range of motion. So let the dumbbells twist at a slight angle here, okay? So I'm going all the way down and then I'm pushing and contracting up, all right? But I'm not coming all the way together here. I'm keeping the dumbbells about 12 inches apart. And by doing that, I help keep some of the stress on my pecs at the top of the movement. And then I focus on lowering the dumbbells down slowly. That's the eccentric part of the movement. It's just as important as the concentric part where you're pushing the dumbbells up. Okay, so exercise number 2 is a curl, and it's an isolation movement. It's focusing on just one muscle group, our bicep. Now guys, I'm going to do hammer curls today, and I'm going to show you, but you don't have to do hammer curls. You can do twisting curls. There's a couple different ways. Both of them are effective, and I'll explain why I'm doing hammer curls. All right, so a hammer, and I like to do them alternating. A hammer curl is when you keep your hands in a neutral position like this. It's basically like you're holding a hammer. All right, and as you can see, I'm not twisting the dumbbells on my way up or down, all right? I'm doing hammer curls because I developed some tendonitis in my left bicep tendon. And doing them this other way I'm about to show you actually hurts a little bit. And I'll have to do hammer curls probably for the next 3 to 4 months until my tendonitis heals up. But this is how you work around injuries, guys. You listen to your body, and I can still work my biceps, but I'm doing hammer curls. Now, let me show you another way that I think is actually more effective for building biceps. All right, and this is a curl with a twist. So you start, this is the natural hanging position of your arms, all right? And as you bring the dumbbell up, as soon as you get that flange past your thigh, you start rotating your hand. And then when you come back down, you rotate it back. And I like to just barely lean from side to side when I'm doing this. And that is just to help the flange on the dumbbell clear my thigh. It's not really giving me any mechanical advantage. But when you twist your hand like this and rotate your hand so that at the top of the movement, see my palm is pointing up towards the ceiling. As I lower it, it rotates back so my palm is pointing towards my thigh. I think you activate more bicep fibers in your muscle this way. And this is my preferred way of doing curls. And I can do it this way without hurting my tendonitis, simply because I'm using a really light weight. If I was really hitting it hard, I'd lift a heavier weight, and it would bother me here, all right? But I can use a heavier weight and do hammer curls without it really hurting. So either way you want to do it is fine with me, but that is a great way to build your arms. All right, so exercise number 3 is an ab exercise, and there's a bunch of great ab exercises. This just happens to be my favorite. And I'm going to show you how I do it at the gym. I'm going to do it the same way at home. Now, a lot of times when I demonstrate this at home, I get down on the ground and do it. All right? But I didn't vacuum. And I have a white lab, and I got a bunch of white dog hair down there right now. So if I get down there and demonstrate this on the ground, my lab is going to be stuck to the back of me. All right? Mojo hair is going to be all over me. So this gives me a good opportunity to show you how I actually do the same exercise at the gym. I do it on a bench. Because, you know, at the gym, the floor is all dirty. You got all kinds of people walking around. It's no fun laying on the gym floor doing ab exercises. So I do it on one of the benches. And it doesn't have to be a bench press. You know, the cable machines, the rowing machines, you know, boom, where you're pulling the handle. You know, they got a nice long bench. I typically do this in between sets of other muscle groups. But anyway, a bench at the gym or a bench at home works just as well as getting on the floor, and it keeps you cleaner. So here we go, bicycle cross crunches. Here we go. I'm just gonna trying to touch my elbow to my offside thigh. And you can listen to my breathing, because it's hard to breathe when your abs are constantly under tension, which they are in this exercise. So you have to really force the breath in and out, okay? And I like this exercise because you're really working all the different muscle groups in your halves at the same time. It's a great kind of all-in-one movement. All right, moving on to the fourth exercise, we're gonna work on our shoulders. Now, most guys have got relatively big front shoulders, and your shoulder is comprised of 3 muscle groups, all right, our delts, all right? We're gonna focus on the rear delts today. Very few guys focus on that, and I think that's really imperative, not just for visual looks, but for your joint strength. I think it really helps protect your shoulder from injury if you work your rear delts on a regular basis. Now, this is called a rear delt fly. We're going to be using bands. Now, you can do this at the gym with the cable machines. Fantastic. Actually, cable machines are better than bands, but we're working at home, and a cable machine costs roughly $4,000. All right. So here we go. Make sure you have a little pre-tension, okay? You know, if you're standing too close, there's basically no tension during the first part of the movement, all right? So you want to have some tension already there so that when we start the rear fly, there's already tension in this part of the movement, all right? You just bring it back as far as you can and hold it for a 1 count. And see how I have my hands and the handles up kind of near my ears at ear level or eye level? Don't bring them down here, all right? If you bring them higher like this, you'll feel the movement in the rear part of your shoulders, that small little delt muscle back there. If you come down here too low like this, you'll feel it more in your back, all right? And we're not shooting for that, all right, with this movement. Now, let me show you, if you've got the time, a more effective way to do this, all right? So you're gonna have to use your lightest band, okay, because we're gonna double it up. So the band's going up through the loop, the same color band's coming down, but because it's doubled up, we got twice the resistance as what I was doing a second ago. So you have to use a really light band. Now, the reason this is actually more effective is because you get more range of motion. With that first movement, I didn't have any tension at all until I was about right here. So I only had tension from here to here. And that's not a big range of motion, right? The more range of motion you have under tension, the better it is as far as muscle growth. All right, I'm gonna turn 90 degrees, all right, to the anchor here. That means starting right here, I already have tension, all right? So I have tension from here all the way over, all right? Gonna get a wider stance because this is gonna want to pull you sideways. So I'm feeling tension all the way to here. Now, all right, not so much because I'm getting pretty close to the anchor, so I might step a little further away. All right, bring it up a little higher now. And when I'm up higher like this, I can feel it more in my shoulder. If I let my hand come down here a little lower, I still feel it in the shoulder, but I also feel it in my lats. And we want this to be more of a shoulder or rear delt exercise. And then, of course, to get the other arm, all you do is turn around 90 degrees. I really feel this a lot better than the first technique I showed you guys. And the only reason you would want to do the first one as opposed to the second one hand at a time is just time, right? Because when I'm doing both hands at the same time, it takes me half as long to do 10 reps. Otherwise, I got to do 10 reps this way and then turn around and do 10 reps on the other arm. It's just a time thing. If you got the time, I would recommend you do one arm at a time because you will get more bang for your buck. All right, so the fifth and final exercise for today is a tricep extension movement. And you know, when guys are trying to build their arms, they almost always focus exclusively on the biceps, just doing curls. Well, your triceps are actually a bigger percentage of your upper arm than your biceps. So you don't forget the triceps, all right? This is a super great, this is probably the most effective tricep exercise I think you can do. And if you're at the gym, do this with a cable machine. It's fantastic. Of course, we're going to do it with bands at home. I'm going to show you two variations of the same exercise, all right? So here we go. I'm going to get down on my knees, all right, because I'm starting with my elbows over here, kind of close to my side and just in front of my torso. All right, I'm going to be slightly bent forward here, and I'm just got my hands, I'm just going to push straight down until I lock my elbows out at the bottom. I control the movement on the way up. All right, I really feel that tension. I don't want you guys to let the bands pull you up real fast like that. So I don't do that. You know, the contraction, this is the concentric part, is important, but the eccentric is just as important. So this is an overhand grip position for the tricep extensions. And I want you guys to experiment. Do one set this way, and then take a little rest, a 60-second rest. Then when you do another set, reverse grip, all right? So my palms are basically facing towards me now. My elbows are in the same position, all right? Now I'm going to push down and rotate. At the bottom, my thumb is going to be on top of that handle. And you're not going to be able to use as much resistance this way, guys. I haven't changed the bands in between simply because the first time I wasn't using a real heavy resistance. All right, that way I can change my hand position. And what this does is, when we change our hand position, look at what happens here to your tricep. So we do one set this way, all right? And your tricep has got 3 different muscle groups, all right? And we hit those 3 muscle groups from this angle, all right? And then the next set, we rotate and we use an underhanded grip, and we still hit those 3 muscle groups, but from a different angle. We're asking those muscles to contract with slightly different demands, all right? Because we've changed our wrist position, and we've rotated our forearms, and we put our triceps in a completely different starting point and ending point, depending, you know, throughout the full range of motion. So I always like to change my grip positions up when I'm doing different exercises. Same thing with curls. Remember I was showing you the hammer curls this way, and then the rotating, twisting curl this way. They're both working the bicep muscle, but we're working the muscle fibers from slightly different angles, and we're calling on those muscles to perform slightly differently under tension. And it's just great for maximizing muscle growth. All right, so 5 great exercises to build a more attractive upper body. And hopefully you notice that I focus basically on the vast majority of the muscles in our upper body, because like I said earlier, I think the total package is more impressive than the sum of all the little parts. So if we overdevelop one particular muscle group relative to the others, you may still look good, but you don't look as good as if everything grows proportionately relative to one another. That's just kind of my personal preference. It's very noticeable for me with guys when they do legs or don't do legs. You might see a guy with a big upper body, but he's got these kind of little skinny bird legs, and it just immediately detracts from his overall physique. All right, so that's why there's a funny saying, friends don't let friends skip leg day. That's why. In the old days, everybody just wore jeans and took the shirt off, and they didn't care about what their legs looked like. Well, nowadays, people care. And when you see somebody walking by the pool or on the beach or anything in shorts and they got big legs, it adds so much to their overall physique. Now today we were just talking about upper body stuff, but the same principle applies here. And then finally, guys, 5 great exercises, but you can't just do them every now and then. You got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.